sound like 007 or N64 and shit. Yeah, 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 yeah. Jane, gold all in my chain.
Good evening, Trading Addicts. Welcome to the weekly watch. This is Jeff Kohler, a.k.a. The Option Addict from over at www.tradingaddicts.com. Also tabbed blogger over at ibankcoin.com. Come visit me either or. Anyways, for this week, before we get started on a little bit of market analysis and trade ideas. Holiday shortened week this week. Market's going to be open for only a half a day on Wednesday, closed entirely on the 4th of July, and will reopen on Friday the 5th. So this would be a phenomenal opportunity to take a nice long trip, holiday, whatever you can to do to get away. I don't think Friday will be worth trading. Going to be light volume, probably not a whole lot of volatility. So I'm probably going to do that same thing, is take a little bit of time off this week. Anyway, for the week that we are here, I got a couple of trade ideas, and we'll start off talking about kind of market analysis. Before we do that, though, guys, I mean, we had some monster gains last week, whether it be in Rackspace or Yelp or Google, Goldman Sachs, or that monster position we took in USLV. A lot of our existing longs like END, IQNT, OSGIQ, JK Solar, been performing pretty well. Market had a nice little stretch last week and then was a little reluctant to go higher on Friday. And, you know, to be quite honest, this is probably just a perfect area for the market to retrace a little bit. So if we start pulling back a little bit, to be quite honest, I'm going to be a buyer into weakness based on the shift in market breadth that we've had last week. We saw some real positive structure in the markets midweek and then till the end of the week. So as long as that maintains, as long as we don't see any real nasty market breadth in the upcoming week, I'd be a buyer into weakness. Now, we're a little bit stretched, so I think we come in a little bit, and that's fine. What I've been saying is in terms of S&P points, the next move we get under 1,600, I'll be a pretty constructive buyer. So for this week, since it's a light week, I've only got a small number of ideas that I'm watching. So not due to lazy analysis, but just due to the fact that if you're trading options, be careful because options decay, and next week is just a recipe for time decay. So be careful with your options trades. So I've got a small number of option trades, and I've got a couple of stock trades we're going to be looking at here. Let's start with stocks. So I think the shippers are going to make a move here pretty soon, and one of my favorites here is DHT. DHT is a little less liquid than some of the others, so whether you go with a dry ships or a FRO, to me it doesn't really matter what the ticker symbol is. But the thing I like about DHT is I think the volume will come, and there's a real nice structure. This is one of the few shippers that still has a really thin volume pocket overhead. So if I like the entry point here at 450, if it gets above 5, it's going to move immediately to about 6. So that's one that I like quite a bit. UNIS, just based specifically on the recent price structure in this stock. Kind of like what it's doing, like the little volume that ticked up on Friday. So as long as it holds 3, I might be looking to buy this into weakness this week. Big fan of the look in GPT. Been looking at a lot of these REITs lately, and based on the fact that they've been sold hand over fist, I've got a small number of these that have become pretty attractive. I like the volume that came into this thing on Friday. I like the way that it's been holding up, and naturally I like the longer term chart because you're right against some resistance here. That's another stock that if it gets above 5, it's going to go to 7 really, really fast. So that's a name that I'm going to be watching next week. I like the way that Skull Candy's setting up, believe it or not. That's been a really ugly stock here lately, but looking for a spot to pick a bottom in that. And also a little energy stock that I'm watching, ticker symbol EOX, which is Emerald Oil. And again, what looks good about this is you zoom out on the longer time frame, and it's been pretty coiled up here at just under 7. I think that serves as a pretty good entry point. So here's the stocks that I'm looking to trade options on this coming week. I've already got a position in Priceline, but I'm going to kind of continue to trade around that. I love the way this thing's been holding up into this market situation lately. It looks really, really good. I like Priceline. I'm a big fan of First Solar here, and I've kind of stepped back from that ever since ever since the news a couple weeks back where prices broke down, traded down beneath 50 all the way down to 40. I like the way that it's setting up here. If you dial down to the lower time frame, there's a beautiful little reversal pattern setting up. So as long as Thursday's low, I believe it was, as long as that holds, this thing looks really, really good, especially once it gets above 46.5. Once it gets above that, I think it's a definitely want to be a buyer of dips in that name. I like 3D here for whatever reason. I like the way this thing's been holding up. I like the kind of cup and handle structure to this. SSYS is another one that looks really good. I've got a position here in 3D, and we'll be looking to add to that into just a little bit more weakness. Apple. I know there's been a lot of talk about Apple, and there was a really, really big swing here on Friday, but I don't think that's the start just yet. I think it goes a little bit lower, and there's an indicator that I've built that I'm going to use to try to pick this bottom, and if it works, we ought to stand to make a pretty decent sum of money on the bounce. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Last couple of stocks I'm watching here are Skyworks, SWKS, which is also consolidated, coiled up really nicely here around 21.5. And then last but not least, keeping an eye on the Google. I'm going to be looking to trade around this. Looks kind of similar to Priceline in the way that it's been holding up. So small number of names for the upcoming week, guys. You know, if we see anything on Monday, we'll add that. I mean, because we're producing daily watch lists as well. But I'm kind of coming in with just a small area of focus. If the market shows that it doesn't have a whole lot of volume to it and everything's pretty flat, not really volatile, probably won't push bets this week. Probably wait till next. So we'll make a couple additions to that list and just see wherever we can find opportunity, any momentum coming out the gates tomorrow morning. But those are at least some of the charts that stand out to me that I'm going to be trading. So appreciate you stopping by here tonight, guys. This has been The Option Addict. That's been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.
Jane, gold all in my chain.